It was the day before Christmas, and Santa's workshop buzzed with excitement. Elves rushed around, putting the final touches on toys, wrapping presents, and preparing for Santa's big journey. Among them was Pip, a tiny elf with a big heart. Pip's job was to polish Santa's sleigh bells, making sure they sparkled brightly. As Pip worked, he suddenly noticed something strange. His favorite red and green striped hat, the one with the jingling bell at the tip, was missing. Pip's hat wasn't just any hat. It was a magical hat given to him by Santa himself when Pip first joined the workshop. Without it, Pip felt incomplete. "Oh no!" Pip exclaimed, searching under the workbenches. Where could it be? Pip asked his friends if they'd seen it. Jolly, the cookie-baking elf, shook his head. "I haven't seen your hat, Pip, but I'll help you look after I finish icing these gingerbread men." Twinkle, the ornament maker, added, "Maybe it's in the wrapping room?" Things get lost there all the time. Determined, Pip set off to find his hat. He peeked into the wrapping room, where ribbons and bows were strewn everywhere, but there was no hat. He checked the stables, where the reindeer snorted and pawed the ground, ready for their flight. Still, no hat. Finally, Pip decided to ask Santa himself. Santa was in his office, checking his list one last time. "Santa," Pip said hesitantly, "have you seen my hat?" "I've looked everywhere, but it's gone." Santa's eyes twinkled behind his glasses. "Your hat, Pip? I think I saw something unusual near the North Star tree in the forest. Why don't you check there?" Pip's eyes widened. The North Star tree was magical and stood at the heart of the enchanted forest. Without wasting a moment, Pip bundled up in a warm scarf and mittens and dashed into the snowy woods. The forest glistened under the moonlight, and the North Star tree shimmered with golden lights. As Pip approached, he saw a group of woodland animals gathered around the tree. And there, perched on one of the lower branches, was his hat. But it wasn't alone. A tiny, shivering squirrel was curled up inside it. "Oh, you found it," Pip said with relief. But then he noticed how the squirrel's fur was frosty. "You must be so cold." The squirrel chittered softly, looking up at Pip with big, grateful eyes. Pip gently lifted his hat and the squirrel. "Here, let's get you warm." He tucked the squirrel into his scarf and carried it back to the workshop. Back at the workshop, Jolly brought a tiny mug of hot cocoa for the squirrel, and Twinkle found a cozy blanket. Soon, the little squirrel was warm and happy. Pip carefully placed his hat back on his head, the bell jingling merrily. That night, as Santa prepared to leave, he turned to Pip and said, "You've shown the true spirit of Christmas, Pip, kindness and generosity. Well done." Pip beamed with pride as Santa flew off into the night sky. He looked down at the little squirrel now snuggled in a bed of soft wool. His hat was back, but more importantly, Pip had made a new friend and shared the magic of Christmas with someone in need. And so, the North Pole slept peacefully, knowing that even the smallest acts of kindness could shine as brightly as the stars above. The end.